Hey, it's Mike. I'm back, and I'm going to do some more Hare Krishna stuff. Let's see, what do we got going on, man? We got a lot of stuff. I got to read all this. Yosemite, please, Mike, please enable automatic audio dubbing feature in your videos to other languages such as Spanish. I think it's already auto, whatever. I checked. I think we're good to go. If not, you'll have to tell me how to do that. But I think it is. Hello, Mike. Hey, Rafal. Sri Makunda Avut Babaji Madhurya Pada Nityananda Iti Namaste. You got a lot of words in there. Hey, let's hear the story. It's a good idea. Yeah, I don't know. Simply need a moderator, more languages. We've established that language gap is a serious issue. Yeah, I checked, and I think I'm already enabled, so I'm not. Okay, let's see. I love these funky cult variations. Enough. They're going down. It's therapeutic for all of us. Yeah. Hey, I'm excited. I'm gonna go ahead and tell my story again. Let's get through this. Justice for little girls, fake human. Good to see you. And then we got videos from Rafal. I got a lot of stuff. I want to talk about and share with you guys. So let's get right to it. Here we go.
Hello?
Hello.
All right. So, hey, thanks for sticking that out. What do we got? We got 6781. How you doing? Good to see you. Always good to see you here. And yeah, running after that kiwi and being chased by the cops. Absolutely. All right. So, what I wanted to do is I wanted to go over my 20 years in the Hare Krishnas. I know I did it about 2 years ago. I made a video. It's like 3 hours long. I did that back before. I had my equipment from the U.S. over here. So I didn't have a microphone. I was using string and a soup can. It sounds really shitty. So I thought I can do a better job now. So I just thought I'd go over it, and it's kind of fun and funny and stupid and all of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna tell the story again because it's interesting and people want to know. And it's time to do it. And I got show and tell, so I can do show and tell while I do the story. So Howard Johnson, good to see you. Hey, we got things moving, slipped right by me. Hey, Gregor, Gresgor. Okay, great. Hey, how you doing? And 7720, great to see 7720 here. How you doing? And Weird Planet, and great to see you. So I know a lot of you probably haven't watched that old video. It's so old, it's like So I'm just gonna go over it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So it was okay. We're gonna start at the beginning. Let's ring the bell. And for all you Hare Krishnas out there that want to know, this is this is where you can pay attention. You'll learn something. So it was like around 92. It was a dark and stormy night. No, it was about 1992. And I met this guy named Beer Lakshman. And here, I'll show you a picture of him. See, I got show and tell. I can actually show you what I'm talking about. I met this guy in the back here. This guy right here, Beer Lakshman. and that was 99. That was 92. He lived lived nearby, and I ran into him because he was selling pot, and I bought some pot from him, became friends with him, um, and here is just so you can see. This is gonna be epic. Yeah, this is gonna be a good one. So you got everything. It's like a documentary. So no, wait a minute. Okay, so here, let me show you this. This guy Beer Lakshman. This is a letter dated 1972, January 29, 1972, Nairobi, to Satsvarup in San Antonio, Texas, and it says, it's talking about the Gurukula. The Gurukula program has my full approval, and then he goes on about loaning some money to Karandar, and he wants the money back in 6 months. You have 6 months to repay, and then he goes on, and then he says, so he goes down here at the bottom. He says the initiation of David and Susan Shoemaker, Bruce Jacobs, and Daryl Nayokis are approved by me and are following in a separate cover. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, and then it's got the names here. D. Shoemaker, Bir Raghava, S. Shoemaker, Bir Mala, Bruce Jacobs, Bir Krishna, and Daryl Nayokis, Bir Lakshman. And that's the guy that I met, this Daryl Nayokis, Bir Lakshman. So I met this guy. He gave me a book. We became friends. We'd smoke pot and we'd talk, and he'd tell me about Krishna, and he'd tell me about Prabhupada. He'd tell me about his time. He'd tell me about when he joined, because he joined in 1971 or whenever in Dallas, and he was telling me about how Prabhupada came one time and he got to cook lunch for Prabhupada, and he was really scared and that he's just telling me. So we became friends, and he gave me a Bhagavad Gita. I started reading it, and I got into it, and then I'd go and I'd hang out with him, and we would just talk about Krishna and stuff. And then after a while, I very quickly I met some of his friends. So his friends would come over, and we would all hang out there. So I met this guy. And I'll show you this guy. So I met this guy. And, I got to tell you, he was kind of a cool guy. He seemed like a cool guy.
Он посмотрел мне в лицо и улыбнулся.
He's smiling at all the devotees.
И он улыбался, глядя на всех преданных.
Look, the devotees, they make so many mistakes before Srila Prabhupada comes.
И преданные делали так много ошибок до того, как Шрила
All
Прабхупада
the grounds
пришел.
are swept and raked and clean and everything, and they say, oh, it's too clean. We got to get leaves over here. And
This guy, again, these guys sitting there giving a lecture. He's another one of these 50-50 swamis. Thinks he's a swami, thinks he's 50-50 swami. And, he's, but when I met him, I didn't know who the guy was, but I was impressed. He was really, he had real strong convictions with these stories. He's telling all kinds of stories. He knew all kinds of stories about Lord Shiva did this, and Krishna did that, and he just, and these were some really wacky, weird stories he'd tell me about Lord Shiva coming out of Lord Brahma's head, and all kinds of stuff he was telling me, and I was new, and I was hearing this stuff, and the way he would say it was really like he really believed it, and it really it made an impression on me. So I met the Bir Lakshman, I met that guy, the Sri Maya, and I met and I met this guy. Let's see, where is? What happened to my screen here? Okay. And then I met this guy. I met this Radhakunda Das. And we became pretty good friends. All three of, I mean, I was really good friends with all three guys. I was friends with Beer Lakshman was like he was like my guru, I guess, kind of. Not really a guru, but he was like my guru, I guess. He was the first guy. He gave me a book. He really taught me all about Krishna and stuff. But Radhakunda and Sri Maya they did too. They also, all three of these guys were very instrumental in me becoming a Hare Krishna. And of course, they're old Prabhupada disciples. They were always talking about the old times, telling me all kinds of stories, all the old stories that they heard from the old days, and telling me how it was in the old days and how it's in the ashram. I practically felt like I was living in the ashram, listening to these guys, all three of these guys, telling me and talking and telling me about how it was when they, were on the traveling Sankirtan party, and when they were with Tamal Krishna, and when they were doing this and doing that. And I heard it all. I heard it all from these guys because they won't shut up. I heard it all from these guys. And we were all good friends. And I met some other people through these guys as well. Okay, let's see. You guys are chatting in here, and I just want to see. In '92, I was already reading books and visiting the temple for 2 years. Yeah, so '92 is when I got my book. Around '91, I found a secondhand copy of The Science of Self-Realization by Prabhupada and had a picture of him on the front. That was my intro to KC. I spent the next 6 years heavily involved in ISKCON. Yeah, so what I did was I read the Bhagavad Gita, and I got into it. I mean, that was it. By the time I finished the Bhagavad Gita, I was in. I wasn't chanting yet, but I was pretty much in. And I didn't have beads or wearing tilak or dhoti or shave my head or even chanting japa, but I was done. I was done. And so I read Bhagavad Gita, then I read Science of Self-Realization, and Science of Self-Realization, and then I think I read this Dialectic Spiritualism, which is like Prabhupada talking about all these philosophers and all these different, trying to defeat all these different philosophies and philosophers. I read that, and then after that, and then I started working on ITV. My daughter went into the school. I put my daughter in the school, and I started reading everything. I started reading Bhagavatam, first canto, all the way through. It took a long time, but I read it all the way through, like this long ass novel, just plowing through it. And then when I finished that, I read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, same thing, just plowed through that. And then simultaneously, I was reading all those other books that he had, the teachings of Queen Kunti and the teachings of Lord Kapila Dev, and what all of those, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, all of them, everything. I read in 20 years. I read it all. Hare Krishna, yeah, same as now. Controversial Swami, ISKCON Guru, the same guy, yeah, the same guy, and that was something that got me, because he was like, yeah, I was initiated with the four. There was four of us, four beers. It was the four beers: Hare Krishna, Hare Malava, Hare Lakshman, Hare Raghava. And I was like, oh, Hare Krishna. Then I found out that Hare Krishna was a guru, and I was like, so you were initiated on the same letter as this Hare Krishna guru guy? Like, you could be, you could have been a guru guy? Like, you both came in on the same day or on the same thing? And that just blew my mind. That just blew my mind that this guy could be, he was like a total fringy. Never went to the temple, but he was a full-on Hare Krishna. He never went to the temple. He followed four regulative principles, except he smoked pot. But he was really strict in all his, like, no coffee and no chocolate and just whatever. But he didn't go to the temple. He didn't go to the temple. He didn't do anything. He was like, I don't want to go to the temple. He was like a big lumbering oaf, I don't. Now I don't know. He was in Dallas. He may have been involved with the children. I don't know. But he was there. He said I never saw nothing. But now that I'm out of it, I have my doubts about what happened with him and because he said I worked in the school. He said I was in the school in Dallas, and then when I found out that all this shit went down, I was like, wait a minute, you were in the Dallas thing? He's like, I never did nothing. I never saw nothing. But and I believed him because he was my friend, whatever. I didn't. But now, once I got out of it, and I haven't talked to that guy. I don't even know that guy. I haven't seen that guy even before I left. I stopped because he got sick. He got sick. He was in a assisted living place, and I couldn't see him anymore. I would go up and see him, and they said no, you can't see him. You can't come see him. You're not family. You can't come see him anymore. I guess he got really sick. But then after I left, looking back, I was like, I don't know. That guy was kind of, I don't know. I have my doubts about anything they say. But anyway, let me move on. The new names, creating a new person. It's breaking down your identity. It's just so glad not to be chanting japa anymore. I know it's the science of BS. I know. It is. It's the science of bullshit. It's the science of bullshit. Yeah, nothing they say, nothing they say is true. Chanting, japa chanting is not 5,000 years old. It's not Vedic. The Vedic culture and the Vedic period are two different things. That's why I'm saying you can't believe anything these people say. Well, they all were. Tamal Krishna was one of the main ones. They were all in on it together. They were all doing it. The bullshit. You went with T-Lock onto your college back in. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was going to work at American Express with a shaved head and a Sika, and dressed up like I was a businessman. But that's what I was doing. That's what I was doing. That's what I was doing, man. Rafael, yeah, that's brave, And then I met some grown kids, some adult when I was hanging out at the LA Temple, like working at ITV, and my daughter was in the school, and I would just meet people, I met some of the grown kids that grew up, and this one girl was telling me that she went to the junior high school. She didn't go to the Gurukula in LA. She went to the junior high school. And her mom made her wear sari and tilak, and she said that the kids made fun of her every single day. She said it was hell. Her mom told her that if you don't take that tilak off, if you don't have tilak on when you come home, you're gonna get in trouble or whatever. She said it was horrible. It was really horrible. She said it was horrible. Her childhood was horrible. Her mother and her parents treated her like forced her into that whole thing. She had no choice. She had no choice. I knew someone who wears tilak to uni, to shopping malls with a chanting bag. Yeah, like I said, I saw somebody outside my. When I lived in the city, in my condo, there was a Hare Krishna that was walking around, with his bead bag and his shaved head, and he was chanting, and I'd pass him every now and then. And I would just say, "Oh God, these freaks are everywhere. They're everywhere." Um, I used to live on Watsika myself after high school, happily tuning in to see this. Oh, okay, so well, you know, I got a lot more. I got a lot more. I got a lot more stuff. So in secondary school, you shaved your head and made a secret. Yeah, you know. I know. I cannot believe I used to sit there fresh out of high school being told all my friends and family are demons for not following this cult. Never. I know. I remember them telling me. I remember my friend telling me, because I was asking him. I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" And you're telling me my mom and dad are demons, malechas, and whatever. And he's like, "Well, you know, do they eat meat? Do they eat meat? Do they gamble? You know, do they get intoxicated? They drink alcohol?" And and I was like, "Yeah, they do that stuff, but that doesn't mean they're demons." And he's like, "Well, you know, according to the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says blah 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 blah." I know this is a great big istagosti. We're all here talking our experiences. You know, like I'm not the only one. It's great, and that's what I like to hear because you know, I'm telling you, when I was there in 92, 93, so 94, right around 94, I start working at ITV because I'm also working at at the cable companies at the public access cable. So I'm learning about TV production at the cable studio. We're producing little rinky-dink TV shows, but they're TV shows. So we're learning how to use all the equipment, learning how to use the TV cameras, and how to mic people up and lighting, and you learn all that stuff, right? It's like volunteer. You go down there and you volunteer and you work. So I'm doing that. So then I end up at ITV, which is right across the street from the LA Temple. It's directly across the street. And I'm in there and I'm subtitling and working on Prabhupada lectures. That's what I'm doing there. Meanwhile, I'm hanging out with Radhakunda and Bir Lakshman and Chaitanya Ballava and Janardana and Jai Narayan and a few other devotees. I can't remember their names. And I'm not really I'm hanging out with them, and I'm going to the work at the temple. I don't really know too many people at the temple, other than my daughter is in the school, so I know Jagadambika, the teacher, and I know Rasayana, the other teacher, and Rasayana's husband or ex-husband, Vadiraj, and their kids. I know them. I know Sura and his wife, Chaitanya, and Sura's kids, because they're in school with my daughter. And I know Janaki, and I know Janaki was the daughter of like Swavas's niece or somebody. It was Janaki, and then there was another girl. There was Rama Kelly, Janaki. There was Ananga. There was Vidu. There was Sita, and all these kids. So I knew all these kids, and I knew their parents because they were the parents. I knew Nishringananda, Krishna Kumar, Swami, because he would help us when we got stuck, when we couldn't figure out what Prabhupada was saying, because the audio was bad to begin with, and then his accent and the way he'd rattle off verses and the way he would talk. Sometimes sometimes we get stumped. We'd be just we wouldn't know what the hell he was saying. It would be like this little gap. We'd have everything up to like this one sentence or phrase that we just could not figure out. So we'd go get somebody. We'd go get Krishna Kumar. He was our go-to guy. He could figure out just about everything. And if we couldn't get him, we'd find someone else. And I worked with Manu. Manu was like the head kid, Gurukuli kid. So I worked with him, and I knew him pretty well because we worked together like every day for like a couple years. We were working every day together at ITV. So I knew Manu. And there was this other girl that was working at ITV for a while. She was answering the phone. I can't remember her name, but she was she was like Manu's age, and they both grew up. I can't think of her name. So I would hear all these stories from them. I would hear stories about the Gurukula. I would hear stories about gurus and stories about different people and what was going on when they were growing up. I heard about abuse and all kinds of stuff. And when I worked at ITV, different people would come in to ITV to talk to Nishingananda, to do business, to do whatever. And I'd meet them, and I'd hear conversations and things that were going on. I did that for a couple of years, ITV. It's kind of destroyed many relationships. It's actually heartbreaking. Yeah, they screw up so many relationships, and I saw so many devotees that like just broke up, divorced, or having problems. It's just like it's not a happy it's not a happy place. It's just not a happy place. And it doesn't go together. It doesn't make sense that this is all what they say it is in transcendental bliss and devotional service and all this stuff. And then everybody's just miserable. Everybody's just, they're more miserable than if you weren't in it. If you're not in it, you're not as miserable. I mean, life's got its ups and downs, but it's like Hare Krishna, Krishna ISKCON, and Krishna Cult. It's just like, people are just miserable. People are just miserable. And these gurus are miserable too. If Rafal can tell you, because I know from Yashodananda, and I've met some of these gurus, and they're not happy people. They're not happy people. They got to put on a show just like everybody else, so they can make their bucks. I flew back home in the airport in a full dhoti and tilak. Yeah, I did too. Oh my God, I did a few trips. I did a few trips to India in full getup, in the full dhoti, tilak, everything. Sitting on the plane, walking through the airport. I had people think that I was selling books in the airport when I was just waiting for my flight, because I was. Someone said, "Hey, you're the guy with the books," and I was like, "No, I don't have any. I don't have any books. I'm sorry, buddy. I don't got no books." I said, "I'm actually getting on this." I did. I said, "I'm actually getting on this plane. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not selling books." That's crazy. I know it's fired up, man. It's being you're fired up. What can I say? It's insanity. And my daughter too. I mean, we so okay, so let me go on. So I'm working I'm at ITV. I'm at ITV 94, 95. And then my daughter she's, I don't know what you call it. I guess you call it molested. She's molested at the temple. She's one of the teacher's aides, some guy, the teacher's aide, who's working there, who lived upstairs from the school, was, getting handsy with my daughter and feeling on her and getting handsy with her. And she was scared. She didn't know what to do. She didn't, she didn't tell me. She didn't tell anybody. She did tell one of her friends, school friends, kind of, however she told her friend. And then the friend was smart enough to go tell the teacher. And then the teacher called me on the phone and said, hey, we got a problem. And I freaked out because I couldn't believe that this shit was happening. I couldn't believe this fucking shit was happening. I freaked the fuck out. I couldn't believe this was going on with my daughter at this fucking Hare Krishna temple on Watsika Avenue. I was in denial. I was like, there's got to be some mistake. There's got to be some misunderstanding, or I can't. No, there's no way. There's no way this guy touched my daughter. There's just no way. Like I get down to the school to the temple, and the teacher is telling me what's going on, and I'm like, well, we got to call the police. We got to call the police. So we called the police, and the police showed up, and we told them what happened, and they went upstairs to the guy's apartment, and they talked to the guy. They brought him down in handcuffs and took him off in the police car. And then they let him go, because they didn't book him, they didn't hold him, they just questioned him and then let him go. And then they came back and they questioned him again. And then they had me in there and they questioned me. They questioned me like I was in on it. They're like, well, why is your daughter, why do you know the guy? Why was she going to his apartment for breakfast in the morning with, this whole thing. Anyway, and I was like, yeah, well, she's just supposed to be going for breakfast, not, with the family there, not with this guy alone. Evidently, so then they interviewed the wife and they interviewed the daughter because he had a teenage daughter. They interviewed the daughter, they interviewed the guy, and they interviewed the wife. And my daughter, and they said, hey, we believe that your daughter's been molested by this guy, but we have no evidence, we have nothing except her word against his. So we need him to confess. If he doesn't confess, there's nothing we can do. So we're going to call him in again, and we're going to see if we can get him to confess. And so, a couple of weeks went by, and his wife was his alibi. So she said, that my daughter was lying because he was never alone with her, ever, and that she was always there. But my daughter's story was that the wife would leave. The wife would leave and take the daughter to school, and then my daughter would be alone with him. And so they knew that my daughter was telling the truth because they put her in one of these therapy things, one of these child abuse therapy things in Santa Monica. I had to take her to Santa Monica every Thursday to this place called Stewart House. And she would meet with a therapist for 45, with a LAPD or a LA County, I'm not sure what it was, with a therapist. And she would sit and she'd have a therapy session with, and she did that for like 6 months. But they were never able to get this guy. And the temple never did anything. They let him stay there. Everybody in the community stuck up. Evidently, everybody in the community stuck up for the guy. Me and my daughter became kind of like outcasts, kind of like, you weren't supposed to call the cops. We don't do that. We don't call the cops. We handle everything ourselves. Virabahu was the guru there, and he wasn't happy. He was supposed to meet with me, and then he canceled. He didn't want to meet with me anymore. Um, so that's the story of what happened with my daughter. And that was like in '96. That was Mike. If you looked up Hare Krishna on Chat GPT, no, I don't. I don't. I don't. No, I don't know. No. So '96 is also the year I went to India for the first time. So I went to India for the first time with these bunch of jokers. I went with Radha Kund and Bir Lakshman and Krishna Kata and Krishna Kata's daughter. And we okay, I'm going to tell you the story. I'm going to tell you the story because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. Um, so we had to get passports. This is going to be a good story. This is going to be a good story. I like this. So we had to get passports. So I had to get a passport. Bir Lakshman had to get a passport. Radha Kund had to get a passport. So we drive up to San Francisco because they're living in Badger. They're living in Badger. So I go up to Badger. They come to LA. I go up to Badger with them. We got to go get our passports and visa. So we go to San Francisco. We get our brand new passports. We go to the that was a whole ordeal, just getting our passports. Then we had to go get our visa at the embassy in San Francisco. So we go get our visas at the embassy. That was a whole ordeal. We go back to Badger. And then we come back to LA to catch our flight, which is like in a couple days. We were like rushed. We were like there was no. We were on a time schedule. So we get to LA. We get back to LA, and the flight to it's a stop in Bangkok. The flight to Bangkok, it's a late night flight. I don't know, it leaves at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. or something like that. We get to or 9 p.m. or something like that. We get to the airport. We go through everything. And we're about to walk on the plane. We're about to walk on the plane. We got our bags. We got our carry-on stuff, right? I don't think we had anything I don't think we had checked luggage. We just had our carry-on, like carry-on bags. We get right up to the practically on the plane. We're not on the plane, but we're like on that little tube. We're like on that little tube, and they yank us off. They stop. The cops come. The airport police come, or whatever they are. They come, and they grab all of us. Me, Bir Lakshman, Radha Kunda, Krishna Kata, and Krishna Kata's daughter. And they pull us to the side, and they were like, we want your passports. And we give them our passports, and they look at Bir Lakshman's passport and Radha Kunda's passport, and they didn't sign their passports. Because you got to sign your passport. And they're like, you didn't sign your passport. That's a a violation. It's some violation or something. So they're like, you didn't sign your passport. So they pull us, all of us, all 5 of us, they pull us over to the side, and they're going through our shit. They're just like going through our stuff, and our stuff is all over the little tube where you go and get on the plane. And I'm kind of freaking out because I'm like, I'm the new Hare Krishna. These are I'm like the new guy. And I have never traveled to India before. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know what's going on. And they're just ripping through everything, and they're opening stuff up, and they're looking through everybody's stuff, and then they go, you got to sign your passport. They don't find anything. They don't find anything. They were definitely looking for they were looking for something. They go, you guys got to sign your passports. So they sign their passports, and they go, okay, you can get on the plane. And then we had to put all our shit back in our bags. That's how they do it. I don't know if you've ever, they open up your shit, and then you got to put it all back in there. We get our stuff back in. We get on the plane, and we we get to Bangkok, and it's late at night. It's like 2 in the morning. We get to Bangkok, 2 in the morning. We get a taxi. We find some rinky ass hotel. I don't know where it was. I don't know. Some rinky ass hotel. You get in there, and Krishna Kata pulls out all this meth. She's got like a cue ball, of crystal meth, and I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, it's time to party. She's like, time to party, and I'm like, oh, so that's what they were looking for at the airport. That's what they were looking for at the airport. They don't come and rip open your bags because you didn't sign your passport. They just tell you, hey, you got to sign your passport. That's what they were looking for. I don't know how they knew she had it, but they were looking. That's what they were looking for. And I was like, we could have went to jail. I could have went to jail for this shit. This is so again. This is how these Hare Krishnas are. I could have went to jail for that shit. So anyway, but we ended up just partying in Bangkok until we were waiting for our flight to go to Delhi. But that's how this Krishna Kata and Radhakunda were up in Badger. I don't know what other shady shit they were doing. I don't know. It's karmis, meat eaters, demons. How dare you drink coffee? So, okay, so I looked them up and asked if it's a cult, and it said no. It knows about most other cults. I think your work is there's not enough anti-Krishna stuff for AI to go and analyze. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right about that. Not coffee. Oh no, not coffee. Okay, so I know. I agree 100%. People don't really know, and it's all right there. It's all right there in the Veda base. It's in their books. The video, everything I've shown. I'm not making anything up. I'm not making videos. I'm not making fake documentaries. I'm not making up stories. I'm not falsifying anything. I'm not exaggerating anything. I'm not doing any of that. I'm showing videos that are on YouTube. I'm showing videos of them talking. I'm showing stuff from their books. I'm showing what Prabhupada says. This is all coming from them. This is all coming from them. And then they want to act like it's me. Well, you're the demon. Why am I the demon? I'm just putting Prabhupada's words on the screen. I'm putting Prabhupada's conversations on. Don't you like Prabhupada's words? Don't you like Prabhupada's conversations? Or don't you like the nectar that comes from the lips of the pure devotee? Doesn't the sound vibration of the pure devotee liberate all three worlds and all of that crap? Isn't that what this is? Aren't we supposed to listen to this shit 24 hours a day? This is their shit. They want to call me a demon. Why? Because I'm repeating your shit? I'm repeating your shit. And you want to call me the demon. You know, he's crazy, he's insane, he's a demon. Why? Because I say that you guys think that there's a demon head eating the moon? That makes me a demon? Because I'm just saying that that's what you think, that's what you believe. You believe it, be proud of it. You believe there's a floating guitar player floating between the planets. Own up to it. Why does that make me a demon? Because that's what you believe. You guys believe that shit? Prophet says marry 19-year-old boy off to a 12-year-old girl. I'm not saying that. You guys are saying it. You guys are saying that you got to forgive these child molesters because you might become a ghost. This is you guys saying this shit. This isn't me. Well, I'm saying it, but I'm just saying that you're saying it. I'm not making this shit up. This is fucking insane. You know what's coming. You know what's coming. You know what's coming. Where is it? Oh, well, I can't find it right now. Here we go.
Is the whole world gone crazy? Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules?
No garlic, no onion. I know. And that's supposed to be scientific. This is supposed to be the science of self-realization. And they tell you no garlic, no onion. Well, where's the science behind that? Oh, well, Krishna doesn't like onions and garlic. Well, yeah, but what's the science behind it? I thought this was the science of self-realization. Now you're just making shit up, and you want me to follow your made-up rules with no explanation. With no explanation. No garlic, no onion. Why? Why? Preaching how garlic and onions are the devil's playground. Why? Why is it? Who said why? Why is garlic? Where's the science behind that? It clouds your consciousness. It's low vibration, or it's in the mode of whatever, food in the mode of darkness or whatever, the mode of it. And you want me to believe that's scientific? Meanwhile, science is like, well, you know, garlic has all these properties that can help you with this and help you with that, and onions can have all these properties that can help with this and with that. And you want me to just you want me to forget that even exists, and you want me to believe in your friggin' mythological fantasy land thing about, oh, you can't offer garlic and onions because it's in the mode. What the fuck? You know, these people, this is insanity. This is something as simple as an onion and a piece of garlic, you know, and no mushroom. And no mushroom. So Voss the madman. Okay, so let me get back. So 96, I go to India. I go to India with these guys, and I go to India with these guys, and Radhakuna decides he's going to stay in India. He's not going to go home. He's going to stay, and he gets in a fight with his girlfriend, and they first he gets in a fight with me. First Beer Lakshman gets in a fight with everybody. He just can't handle it. Beer Lakshman cannot handle India. He's just like, him and India are like oil and water, and he has like a mental breakdown as soon as we get to India. He feels like he's getting ripped. Everybody's ripping him off, and you know, India's a rough place to go. I mean, it's not, and it ain't no Club Med. It is, you know, it's Club something else. Okay, so he can't handle it. He's just like, he feels like he's getting ripped off, and he feels like nobody likes him because he's kind of a hard. He's not a pleasant guy to be around because he's like bipolar. So he's just like, he's in this funky mood all the time. And so yeah, we're like, man, you know, and so then he's like, well, you fuck you, and then so it's just this, and then Radhakunda, and I'm in India, and I'm just going like, oh shit, going on. Um, I'm kind of overwhelmed with the whole thing. And Radhakunda is like, oh no, we gotta be, we gotta be, uh, Pukka, and we gotta do this, and we gotta do Mangalartik every morning, and we gotta go, and we gotta do, and we gotta go to this, and we gotta go to the Radhakunda, and then we gotta do Parikram, and then we gotta, and then we gotta read Krishna book down by the river, and we gotta just, see you later. I'm having. So I said, you know what? I've been here long enough. I've been here a week, and you've been here a week. And if you feel like going home, I'll go home with I'll go home with you. So we left. We left. I regretted it though, because once I got home, I was like, damn, why did I come home? I should have stayed. I had a whole nother week that I was supposed to stay, and I didn't. I came back. So uh, ChatGPT needs you to feed the initial philosophy about ISKCON. ISKCON isn't that well known, so that's why the AI programming doesn't recognize ISKCON as a cult. Yeah, I know it does. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, all the Gurukuli kids used to run and laugh, say they heard. I don't know what they heard. All the Gurukuli kids used to run and laugh, saying they heard it. They heard what? What did they hear? I missed that. About the garlic and the onions. Oh, yeah. I remember at the L.A. Temple there was a donut shop that opened up around the corner, and and it was like, and it was an Indian guy that made the donuts, and the donuts were really good, but he used eggs in the donuts. He used eggs in the donuts, and I used to go get them. I used to go get those donuts. I was like, I pretended like I didn't hear him when he said the eggs. There were eggs in them. I was just like, I like those donuts. I wanted those donuts. I said, I'm gonna have a donut. Yeah, okay. Is Hare Krishna movement a dangerous cult? Short answer, no. The Hare Krishna movement is generally not considered a dangerous cult, but like many religious movements, it has controversial. Yeah, yeah. It doesn't know. It doesn't know about these things that Prabhupada says in the Veda base. I mean, you'd have to feed the whole Veda base into Chat GPT and then say, what the fuck is this all about? What the fuck is this? And then it's gonna come back and go, oh, I'm asking you, what the fuck is this? Yeah, it if you ask any cult expert, they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, Hare Krishna is definitely a cult." So I don't know. I can't believe it. They do screw up. They do screw up relationships. My mom cried her eyes out when I left home at 18 to join them. Yeah, so I joined at 30. Here's let me show you this. Okay, so this this is in the credits. So this is me in '96. This is the Krishna Balaram tree. That tree doesn't exist anymore. And if you've been to Vrindavan lately, that empty lot behind me is now this huge building called the Russian Building, and it's called the Russian Building, and it's like a 3-story building with shops and just everything right there. And there's a path right there. The road right there where I'm standing is really busy. That is a hectic intersection right there. But anyway, this is 30 years ago. There was nothing there. And this tree was growing there, and it was a black tree, like a black oak tree or something, and then this white tree growing out of it. So they called it the Krishna Balaram tree, and everybody would go and worship this tree because it was like a black tree and a white tree growing together. And so that's me in '96, my first trip to India. I cut off my long hair, and I'm wearing a dhoti and a kurta for the first time. So there I am, '96. I've been a Hare Krishna for 4 years, and now I'm my first time in India, and I'm all excited. And I'm just all woohoo! I'm at the Krishna Balaram tree. That's me. That was me. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's so much information about ISKCON, and that's why it's not recognized as a cult. Yeah, they don't know what they're talking about, and that's why ChatGPT and AI is not perfect. That's a perfect example of why you really can't trust. You can't trust it yet. Drinking foot water. Yeah, I never drank any foot water. I missed out on that wonderful experience of drinking some guru's foot water. If you ask ChatGPT if surrendering your life to some pedophile guru who's going to control everything about you, meanwhile he's swimming in a river and molesting little kids, is that a bona fide religion? Ask her that. I don't know what to say, man. My guru is molesting little kids. Is that bona fide? Ask him that. Say my cult promotes child marriage. My religion promotes child marriage. Is that okay? Ask it that. Ask ChatGPT that. Should I join this religion that marries 12-year-old girls off to 26-year-old men or 19-year-old men? Does that sound like something I should join? I don't know, man. Yeah, it's kind of messed with my head. It's messed with my head too. It messed with your head. There's something specific about ISKCON more than any other that gets inside your head. I think so, man. It gets in there like a friggin' worm, and it won't leave. It won't. I still have this thing about, they drill it into you, about the time of death and what's going to happen when you die, and you're going to go back to Godhead, or you're going to go to the hellish planets, and Prabhupada's, death and his passing and reincarnation and getting another body. It's like, I can't shake that shit. Not that I believe in it, but it's like that shit is still in there. It's not that I believe it, but it's just like this residue, like this friggin' residue. I don't know if anybody else knows what I'm talking about, but it bugs the fuck out of me. I wish I had never fucking opened up a book. Well, if I did this thing on the last show where this someone on the Reddit put Prabhupada's quote about vagina in and asked it if there's any shaming rhetoric in there, and ChatGPT came back and said, hey, this is very culty. In fact, if you need help getting out of a cult, it came back with like a community warning. It came back with a warning. I'll show you. If you want me to show you again, I can, I'll be happy to show you. maybe I'll do that in a second. I wanted to show you some more pictures here. So this is me. This is me getting after I got swallowed by the Jamuna. I was walking along, and I ended up waist deep in mud and like quicksand mud, and I thought I was gonna die. I thought I was gonna die. Seriously, I was trapped. You can see up to my knees right there. You can see I was up. It came up a little bit higher, but I had to change. I had to change because the Jamuna it was relentless. And but anyway, I came out almost half naked. I came out of the Jamuna almost half naked, and it was quite an experience. So that was my first trip to India. I don't know if anybody's had an experience like that. You flew with 4 guys in '96 to India with Bhakti Vikas Swami. Oh God, and we were all in dhotis as brahmacharis, and we were like that in the U.S. movie about the pilot of the airport. Yeah, I've done that. Not a whole bunch of us. I did it by myself. I did it by myself. In fact, one time I was in the Delhi airport, and I had bought some beady cigarettes to give away as gifts. I didn't smoke them. I didn't smoke cigarettes, but I had them in my bag because I was going to give them to some of my friends, some of my coworkers at American Express. I was going to be like, "Here, I got you some cigarettes from India." My bag, and I'm scooping them. I'm scooping them up and putting them in my bag. And the security, one of the police guys, army, whatever they are, the security guy with a gun, he came over and he looked at the beaties, and he looked at me, and he looked at the T-lock, and he's like, "Oh, you smoke, you smoke." And he was laughing at me like, you're a Hare Krishna, but you smoking beaties. And I was like, "No, these aren't for me." And he was like, "Oh, yeah, they know, sure." It was pretty funny. I need to keep hearing the truth. ISKCONholics Anonymous. I know, that's what we are. It is. It's therapy It's therapy for me. I'm going to tell you right now, this is therapy for me. I need to get this shit out. I still got that shit in me that I need to get it out. It refused to say that ISKCON is a cult, even after admitting that Prabhupada says problematic things. Yeah, problematic things. You got some things. I got some things for you. I got some things, man. Let me see. So here. So Google was able to detect several specific psychological mechanisms to enforce shame and repression, dehumanization and animalistic comparison. The speaker uses biological reductionism to strip human relationships of emotional and spiritual value. A language of disgust. The leader uses visceral triggers to create an aversion to sexuality. Olfactory shame, contamination metaphor, false choice, and voluntary repression, the double bind, intellectual shaming, suppression of individuality, authority as the washer. So this is very powerful Google AI discovering this shaming rhetoric in Prabhupada's words. And then down here at the bottom, it says, if you are processing the effects of this environment, resources like the International Cultic Studies Association or the Dare to Doubt project provide tools for recovering from high control group rhetoric. So Google was able, if you put Prabhupada's words into Google, it'll tell you, yeah, this is a cult. Google can recognize that it's a high control group rhetoric, and no mistake about that. But if it's just scanning articles about ISKCON, it's going to come up with so much pro-ISKCON bullshit from ISKCON that it's just going to it's going to outweigh it, and it's going to say, yeah, no, it's not. Absolutely, and I agree with you that, you know. Yes, Mike, they said that she was overdeveloped. What the fuck? Overdeveloped. Okay, so yeah, okay, so yeah, so when my daughter when my daughter was molested at the temple, the word was that my daughter was overdeveloped for her age, and she was 11, and they're like, you know, the word in the community, the word on the street was that she was overdeveloped, and you know, and I said, no, she's not overdeveloped. She's just a little girl that's developing and growing up. She was 6 years old when she came to this temple, and now she's 11. That's 5 years. She went from a 6-year-old to an 11-year-old, and she's starting to develop, and she's starting to look like a young woman. She's starting to look like a young teenage girl. She's starting to look like a little woman, like a little girl, not a little kid, not a baby anymore. That's normal. That's not. You're not overdeveloping. She's not overdeveloping. She's developing right on time. That's what happens to little kids. But in this pedophile cult, 11 years old is like maturity. She's mature. She's 11. Prabhupada married his wife at 11 years old. She got pregnant when she was 12. Just tell me that my daughter was overdeveloped. That it was her fault. They victim shame. The victim blame. It was her fault. Because she's overdeveloped. So obviously she was coming on to him. She's Maya. She's Maya. She's less intelligent. She's got the small, all that fucking sexist bullshit. And now they're going to use that on my daughter to blame her because some fucking pedophile creep rubbing his hands all over her body? Getting the fucking nerve of these people. The fucking nerve of these people. The fucking nerve of this Swavas. To tell me that there's nothing he can do. I can't kick him out of the community because he hasn't done anything. What do you mean he hasn't done anything? Well, you can't just kick him out because she said that he did something. Well, you kick people out all the time. You kick people out for smoking cigarettes. That ain't against the law. You kick people out for eating meat. That ain't against the law. You kick people out for having sex or whatever. You won't even rent an apartment to two unmarried people because that's illicit sex and you don't want to have that going on. But a guy that's molesting my daughter, you're going to sit there to my face, you're going to stand there to my face and tell me you can't do anything about it because he hasn't done anything wrong? You're going to tell me this isn't a pedophile cult? These guys protect pedophiles every chance they get. They never turn down an opportunity to protect a goddamn pedophile. They never met a pedophile they didn't want to fucking defend. Blame my daughter because this fucker putting his hands all over her. And then blaming me for calling the police. Which devotee did it? He wasn't really even a devotee that I know. I mean, he lived there. He lived above the school. His name was Ajit, and I don't know, he was some Indian guy, but he was working in the school as a teacher's aide in the school. And he was living there with his wife and his daughter, his 16-year-old daughter, and his wife was a doctor and she worked at UCLA. And he was a bum. He didn't do anything. He was just a teacher's aide at the school, getting his hands on little girls. So I don't even know. And then after, once he got away with it, about a month or two after he got away with it, he bounced out. He bounced out and went and moved. He just moved out of the community and nobody ever saw him again. He was gone. They're all scumbags. He's a scumbag, but Swava's going to sit there, he's going to stand there and tell me, oh, we don't call the police. Oh, we don't call the police. We handle that. We handle that internally. Handle it internally? Well, how? You put him in jail? You gonna put him in jail? Because that's where he belongs, in jail. So unless you have a jail and you're going to arrest him, put him on trial, stick him in the jail, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. We handle this internally. We handle it internally. What the fuck is that? The wife defending it and everybody in the community defending it. Everybody in the community defending it. Because you know how people talk. People talk, they gossip, and it gets back to the little kids. It gets back to my daughter. It gets back to the little kids. The little girls talking about, oh, Radharani this, Radharani that. My daughter was Krishna in the play, in the John Mastami play, the big friggin' John Mastami play in 1994 or 5. She's Krishna. She played Krishna in the play, in the temple room. She did the whole thing. The butter, the Mother Yashoda looking in her mouth, her stealing butter and feeding it to the kids, to the monkeys, running around with the kids and playing with the kids. She was Krishna in the whole play. Everybody knew who she was. Everybody knew who I was. We weren't nobodies. She played Krishna in the play, and then she was also she wasn't Nrsimhadev, but she was in the Nrsimhadev play. She was in a bunch of plays. She danced at the Ratha Yatra. She danced out at these friggin' Hindu temples where they would have the Hare Krishna, where the kids would go and dance and put on a show with Jagadambika. My daughter was, everybody knew who my daughter was. Everybody knew who I was. I wasn't like somebody that they didn't know, I was like some nobody. That's why I'm saying, I wasn't a freaking guru. I wasn't a guru. I wasn't a swami. I wasn't a temple president or anything. But I was more like Forrest Gump. I was just everywhere. I worked at ITV. Everybody knew I worked at ITV. Everybody knew who my daughter was because she was Krishna in the play. She was in all the plays. She was dancing on the Rath Yatra cart. She was dancing in this and that. And then when this guy puts his hands on her, instead of everybody coming to her defense and saying, run this guy out of here, that's Radharani, that's Sri Mukunda's daughter, the fuck's going, no. They don't do that. Now she's overdeveloped. And now, Sri Mukunda, he's not really, he doesn't have a guru, and he hangs out with, Yashoda Nandan, and Oh, yeah, so it's our fault. So it's our fault that this guy molested my daughter. It's my fault because of who I know. Because they see me with Radha Kunda and they see me with Sri Maya and they see me with, Paranjan or, whoever they happen to see me talking to. So I'm that guy, troublemaker or whatever the fuck. Fuck these people, man. Fuck these people. Everybody with their mafia comments. Yeah, I mean, what else? What else? What else can you call it, man? What else can you fucking call it? And that I have to say, my daughter was smarter than me. She's like, Dad, I don't want to do this anymore. After like a year or two later, like 2 years after that, she's like, I'm done. Yeah, it seems like a few of us were in ISKCON in the 90s. Personally, I was 92 up until the end of 97. Yeah, so I did 20 years, 92 to 2012. Yeah, 09 to 20. Yeah, see, you got out quick. You got in, you got out. They fucked you up, fucked up your head, but you're able to, it's yeah, it's weird. Spot on. Mostly '90s fiscal because I mean that's kind of like that's the bell curve, because the earlier ones are going to be they're older. The younger ones they haven't figured out yet. We're like, and then that curve will move along. It'll move along, right? It'll be the mostly 2000s. Will be, you know. Miss Jade left recently. I'm glad you got out. I'm glad you got out. It was. I'm glad we're all out. 75 to 86. Yeah, that's Yeah, you see, you were there at the. Oh, still fresh out. Yeah, that's fresh for you. That's like yesterday for you. That's like yesterday for you. But it's going to be good because now that you're here with us, it's going to be easy. It's going to be easy smoothing because we're going to have fun. We're going to laugh. We're going to joke. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to help other people get out. We're going to testify and witness, and we're going to tell our stories, and we're going to warn people, and we're going to help others. And that's what's really so important because we can't burn it down, but we can definitely help others. We can definitely help other people, and we can warn other people. We can warn other people. So yeah, all glories to us, man. Yeah, all glories to us with elaborate purports. Absolutely. um, so I want to get back. I want to get back to what's going on here. So 97. So 97. So 96. My daughter's molested. I go. We have this whole thing. She goes into therapy. She comes out of therapy. She's okay. She's not. Well, you have to ask her, but she's okay. She's not traumatized. We're still devotees for another year. I take her to India. The next year, I take her to India because I want her to experience. Because I was there more like a tourist than I was like a devotee. I was there when I was with Radhakunda and everything, and these guys. I was like 50-50. I was getting up and going to Mangalartik, but then I was also trying to be more like a tourist. I wanted to do touristy things. I didn't want to I wasn't spending my day as a devotee. I was like, I'll go to Mangalartik and Guru Puja and greet the deities, and then I'm off. I'm off to go do my thing. I'm not, so I wanted my daughter to go and experience it and see the monkeys and the rickshaws and the dirt roads and the old temples. I wanted her to check it out. So I took her the next year, and the two of us went, and we stayed for 2 months. We rented a house. We rented a little house behind Bon Maharaj's school there, the big school right there across the street from the Krishna Balaram temple. We rented a house behind that, and we lived in that house for 2 months in Vrindavan in 1990. It was November and December of 97. You're arguing now. You're arguing with ISKCON. You're arguing with ChatGPT that it's not. You ask ChatGPT about child marriage, what it thinks of child marriage. Ask ChatGPT if it's down with the child marriage. Let's see what it says. I wonder how it can ever be different regardless of when you join. It can't be. All the basic expectations are there regarding the chanting, and it doesn't change. It doesn't. You're absolutely right. It doesn't. It doesn't change. The way they advertise it now is all watered down and hip with yoga classes, and young people are giving Dharma talks.
Listen, I'm probably the hippest guy around here. I got a house full of strangers. I got cats, I got dogs, I got pot, I got acid, I got LSD cubes. Don't tell me about hip. I am so hip, it hurts. That's how hip I am.
Yeah, we're hip. We're hip. Exactly, to argue with you that it isn't a cult. Ask it about the child marriage. Ask it, say, is child marriage legal? And if there's a spiritual organization that promotes child marriage, does that make it, a pedophile cult or something like that? You got to get it in the. You got to corner this thing. You got to get it. You got to get it with the right question. You got to say, hey man, what's up with the child molestation? What's up with the give it that. Put that Prabhupada quote in there. Copy that quote and put that in there and say, hey, ChatGPT, what's going on in this? What's going on in this conversation, man? I need to know. Tell me what's going on in this conversation.
Has the whole world gone crazy? Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules?
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
Yeah, we all need to educate. AI needs to come in here and listen to Mike. It really does. Paz is right. It's like, yeah, 12 years is a long time to be involved in ISKCON. I'd say anything over 5, man. You are, anything over 5 years, man, you could end up in there for life. That's what I think. Because after 5 years, you're so into the, you're moving and grooving in this. I don't know, man. It's like, how do you get off that wheel? You're like a hamster on a wheel. Like a hamster on a wheel. It's all about Mike's experience and our path. The AI would never get it correctly. It's about betrayal, being lied to. Yeah, that's the thing. But I think the child marriage and the pedophilia and the gurus and forgiving the gurus. If you ask ChatGPT, should gurus that molest children, should they be forgiven in a spiritual organization? Should child marriage be part of a spiritual organization? Should 12-year-old girls be married to grown men? And ChatGPT has to say no. It has to say no. Those things are wrong. It has to. It has to, man. It has to. The ISKCON PR campaign, yeah, totally. It's like Scientology. They go out. I mean, that's their whole thing, and that's probably what your brother's doing. He's probably part of that PR program, to where they could just flood the zone with good shit, so that no one knows the truth. In the mode of ignorance. Garlic and onion, the mode of deliciousness. I know, in the mode of good, mode of yummy. In the mode of yummy. All All right, so I want to get back. I want to get back to my little bit of my story here. Okay, so I took my daughter. I took my daughter in 2000 in '97, and we were in this house for 2 months, and then when we came back, she decided she didn't want to be a Hare Krishna anymore. And then I went back to India in 2002. I went back in 2002 with her. She was 16, and we went back, and she wasn't too happy, but she wanted to go. She wanted to go, but once we got there, she wasn't too happy about the whole thing. Let me see. Where is this? I can find this here. So this was this was in 2002. As you can see, she's not too happy. She's not too happy there. That's me in 2002. We're at Prem Sarovar, where Radha and Krishna would meet, I guess, and pick flowers or something. I don't know. But anyway, that's my daughter there. So we were there in 2002. And we were there for 2 weeks, and we stayed right near the Krishna Balaram temple, and we would hang out and go have chai. And so you guys were talking about coffee a little while ago, and so one time I was sitting there and I was drinking some chai in front of the temple. Let me see. With my daughter, we're both sitting there, and I think she was drinking. I think she was drinking too. I'm not sure. What happened here? I lost it. Okay. Those of you that have been to Vrindavan, I think a few of you have. I can't find it now. I was trying to get this set up so this wouldn't happen, but it doesn't work. It never works for me. So this little kid sees me drinking chai, and he says to his mom, he says, "Oh, that man's gonna get karma. He's gonna get karma." And this is a little kid. He's like 5 years old. And he's like, "He's going to get karma, Mommy. He's going to get karma. Oh, no, he's going to get karma." And the mom's looking at me, and the little kid's looking at me. And the little kid's looking at me. And my daughter's looking at me, and I'm like, this is the insanity. It was funny. It was funny as fuck. So this is a picture I took when I was in Haridwar, traveling around. Came across this guy. And I thought that was pretty cool, so I took that picture there. So then I meet Yashodanandan around 2000. It came around 2000, 99, 2000. I meet Yashodanandan, and I start working with him. Start doing this Hare Krishna webpage. I become the secretary of the Hare Krishna Society. And I start working on their webpage because I'm like a computer guy back then. So I become and I start working on this webpage, and this is the page. I actually made this little Prabhupada approved webpage thing that they're still using. All these years later, 26 years later, they're still using my same little thing. They've redone this webpage many times, but I still put these pictures down here at the bottom. I did this, and I put all this. I put that little thing down there. That was me. I did that. Anyway, this was the webpage that I worked on. I worked on this from like 2000 till I left in 2012. And so I was the secretary of this Hare Krishna Society. We printed some books, or at least one book that I worked on, one book about Prabhupada called Srila Prabhupada's Siddhanta. It was all about Prabhupada's teachings, about Ritvik. It was all about all of Prabhupada's quotes and statements in support of the Ritvik philosophy. So I was doing that from 2000 until about 2012. Around no sound. Is the sound back on? I'm showing there's sound here. Do you not have sound? I'm showing sound. Can you hear me now? It is back. Okay, I just noticed that you guys, somebody said there's no sound, but I see that there's sound. Yeah, I can't keep up with all your comments. It's just too many comments. Okay, so I think the sound is, you can hear me now. Okay, so the sound is where, I don't know what's going on with the sound with my computer. I've been having some issues with it, and I don't know what the problem is, but I apologize if there was no sound. So anyway, I worked on this Hare Krishna webpage for the Hare Krishna Society. I did this for about 10 years. The sound is on. Sound is on. Okay. So I did this for like 10 years. I would put all these things on there. In 2010, so I attended all the Rath Yatras. Let me show you. This is what I wanted to show you. If I can go back here and find my Krishna stuff. Okay, so this. So this is at the LA temple. This is, I forget her name. This is the lady who told me that Prabhupada doesn't like dogs. And I said, what do you mean Prabhupada doesn't like dogs? And she said, no, Prabhupada does like dogs, but we can't have dogs. That's this lady right here. I don't remember her name. That's inside the LA temple. This is the altar in Yashoda's apartment, but this is my apartment. He was the one. That's a picture I took from in Vrindavan. It's a really nice picture. I wish I still had that, but I don't. But these are all my deities that I had back then. Ladu Gopal deity and the Sringadev deity and Jagannath deities and Gornitai deities. Anyway, okay, so there's that. I want to show you some pictures from the LA temple. Maybe some of you might know some of these devotees here. What happened? I guess it's up here. Every time I try to get this going, it never works out the way I want it to. Let's see. This is, of course, this is the LA temple. Those of you that from LA will recognize that. Let's see. There's a picture. I have some pictures from outside the LA temple. Here we go. This is one of the this is the last Raw Theater that I attended in Venice Beach. In 2000, that's 2011. Here we go. Here's a good one. Maybe some of you recognize some of these people here. I know I seen this guy around all the time. I don't know his name. I don't know that guy's name, but I recognize him though. Let's see. Here we go. So this is, I've talked about this before. This is when I was helping Ratna Bhushna build these, replace these carts, build these new carts. And this is him. We just about finished. He's putting the decorations on them. And you know, I didn't do a lot of work. I would, you know, I'd hold something for him. I'd hold this there while he welded, or I'd, you know, do this or that. You know, just, it's not like I was up there welding or doing anything like that. I wasn't doing that at all. But I was just, you know, giving him a hand here and there when he needed a hand. I'm not trying to say I built those carts or anything. Okay, so this is this was a Venice Beach. This was a Venice Beach Harinam. I guess I had my camera with me. I was taking some pictures. Harinam down at the beach. I don't recognize anybody. I don't really recognize, although that might be that pedo pod right there. That looks like that guy right there. I don't know. So there's that. Okay, so now let's get to the end. We got to get to the end of the story. 2010. 2010. Rochan writes an article on his webpage that I happened to come across. Because I was reading I'd read his webpage all the time. I'd go to read it and see what's going on. It was like gossip. It was like what's happening in the movement. And I had been following this. I had been following this Tattva Darshan guy for a while. I already knew. I'd already heard about him. I already knew, and I'd heard about him and knew what had happened. And he had been in jail, and that he got arrested for molesting. For being with underage girls in Cambodia. And I already knew the story. I already knew the disgusting story about this guy. And then I see this one day in 2010. And it says, Tattva Darshan Das, founder of the Bhaktivedanta Eco Village, was last year convicted of intent to commit debauchery. The following article is written because of the pain felt for devotees, children in particular, who have been victims of sexual abuse while ostensibly in the care of responsible devotees, and the pain felt by devotees who have seen their loved ones abused, and the pain felt by all of us who have seen the reputation of ISKCON badly shattered by these events. It is also written out of concern for those who will unfortunately be victims of such sexual abuse in the future, which will happen if the scourge of pedophilia is not dealt with vigilantly. It sounds like he's definitely against pedophilia. And it says the Bhaktivedanta Eco Village in Karnataka State, South India, is a jewel in the golden setting. The mountains surrounding this valley are said to have been dropped by Hanuman. In the Narasimha Purana, the area is described as blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then it says, the Sampradaya Sun carried several articles a couple years ago referring to the dark side of the founder of BEV, Tattva Darshan. We read the headline, Hare Krishna leader accused of pedophilia in Cambodia, about how he had been arrested in Cambodia for being with young girls in a hotel room in a state of undress. He was released from jail early last year after serving a one-year term. We also read in the Times of India that Tattva Darshan has been in trouble with the Indian authorities in the past. He was detained for questioning by the police 7 years ago after a complaint of child sex abuse from an ISKCON devotee. So what has happened since then? Well, firstly, ISKCON authorities wasted no time in doing the needful in a way we would surely have not seen pre-Turley lawsuit. To their credit, they firmly terminated all connection with BEV and Tattva Darshan. Reference to the BEV is no longer to be found on the ISKCON website, nor in the BBTI publications, including the BTG. Tattva Darshan is not welcome on ISKCON properties. The cover-up, however, continues, but this time it's under new management. Okay, so my friends, the people that I was working with the Hare Krishna Society, Dhamma Ghosh and Yashoda Nandan and Shringa and all of these guys decided that they were going to be friends with Tattva Darshan and bring him into our Ritvik group. And I said, no, I wasn't having it. So this article, it goes on. It says here, and this is it says here, a longtime friend of Jitaratri, and godbrother of the three board members in question, has written a testimonial. He writes, I was walking back from the guest ashram at BEV when I reached the building that Tattva stays in. Lo and behold, as I came around the corner, I was looking directly at the doorway to the house he lives in. Just at that moment, a little girl about 12 years old jumped down, and with my next step, I realized that she jumped down off of Tattva's lap. There was nowhere else she could have jumped down from. He was right there. My mind was very perturbed by this, as I had observed him a few days earlier giving little sweeties to the infants. I got a creepy feeling and left. I told Jitterati and he just fobbed me off. I have personally discussed this point with Jitterati. He explains that Tattva Darshan is very affectionate. And he says, Jitterati is adamant that Tattva Darshan is not a pedophile. Why is Jitterati denying that Tattva Darshan is a pedophile? His contention is that a person is a pedophile only if they are attracted to prepubescent children. The 12-year-old girl in the Phnom Penh hotel room was not prepubescent. Therefore, according to Jitterati, Tattva Darshan is not a pedophile. His intent to commit debauchery on a 12-year-old girl, however, does make him a pedophile. That's the law. Jitterati has been preaching to devotees recently how a girl is at her most attractive when she reaches puberty, and that the age of consent is a Western notion at odds with sex life beginning at puberty, which is Vedic. He further cites how Prabhupada's wife conceived when she was 12 years old. Okay, so this is how all Hare Krishnas, when push comes to shove, they will all take Jitterati's position. Just exactly like this. They will cite how Prabhupada's wife was 12 years old. She was 11 when he married her and 12 years old when she got pregnant. So, and also, if they're under 12, then that's bad. If they're over 12, it's only bad because they're not married. That's Jitterati's That's Jitterati's explanation. So now, what I want you to pay attention to, take notice of, is Rochan, the person who's writing this. Rochan, the person that's writing this, this is what he says next. So we have been asked, how does one determine whether a man is a pedophile or not, given Jitterati's criterion, which is whether or not the girl is pre or post-pubescent. The only way that one could know such things in Vedic times is when the father and mother were looking for a husband for their daughter, and they knew she was menstruating. But how does someone like Jitterati know these things? And what does he do to ascertain that? What is his methodology in lieu of what the law prohibits? So if you read between the lines here, what Rochan is saying is okay. But how do you determine that the girl is prepubescent or not? That's his only contention. Is how does one determine whether a man is a pedophile or not, given Jitterati's criterion? So he's saying, okay, if we accept Jitterati, which he does, because it's Vedic, and they accept everything that's Vedic. So Rochan, even though he's claiming that this guy is a pedophile, he's saying, okay, let's say it is Vedic and it is 12 years old. So how do you know that a 12-year-old girl is ready unless you're the parents? Only the parents would know because they're trying to get her married. So that's his only thing. It's like, well, how would you know? So even the guy that's complaining and writing this article, he's still in on it. He's still in on it. He's just trying to say, well, how would you know that she's 12? How would you know that she's menstruating? How would you know? Okay. So this is what my people, you showed at my group, my Ritvik group. This is what my Ritvik group said. This is written by Yashodanandan. I was Yashodanandan's assistant. So if Yashodanandan writes this and believes it, well, then I guess I'm going along with it because I'm the assistant. I'm the secretary of this organization. He's the president of the organization. I'm the secretary of the organization. So here Yashodanandan says, as for the activities of Tattva Darshan, it is our understanding that the trustees of the Bhaktivedanta Eco Village have commenced a full-fledged investigation to ascertain the veracity of the claims and allegations regarding the said Tattva Darshan Das. He already went to court, he went to trial, he was convicted, and he went to jail, and he served a year in jail. And then you guys busted him out of jail, and now you're saying, well, we still have to do an investigation to find out the veracity of these claims and allegations. Why? He's already been adjudicated a sex offender, and he did his time. There's nothing to investigate. There's nothing to find out. It's already settled. It's settled and done. What the fuck? While there seems to be numerous accusations, innuendos, and stories circulating on the internet regarding this individual, he says individual as if he doesn't know who he is. Regarding this individual, we feel it is prudent to wait until the responsible parties conduct their investigation and reach their conclusions. Well, what responsible parties are doing an investigation? Who investigated? And what are the results of it? It's been 10 fucking 15 years since this. Where are the results of this non-existent investigation? You never investigated anything. There's a bunch of bullshit. I knew it was bullshit back then, and I know it's bullshit now. In fairness to the individual, it should be mentioned that he has rendered valuable service. Again, he did all this stuff in the past, so, just because he molested some kids now, he did do some good stuff, back then. Valuable service in the past to Srila Prabhupada's mission by pioneering bullock cart parikram in villages in India. Yeah, he tied a cart to a bull, put some books on it, and pulled it around the village. And he wants us to all think that he's done something great and that he can now go molest little kids, and we need to forgive him because he put a bull in a cart. He put a fucking bull in a cart and put some books, and he carried them around this village. Where is it? You know what's coming. Where is it?
Is the whole world gone crazy? Is the whole world gone crazy? Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules?
If you put a bull in front of a cart, you hook a cart up to a bull, put a bunch of Prabhupada's books on it, and lug it around the village for a couple hours, you can go molest kids. Why not? Why the fuck not? He says, while HKS, the Hare Krishna Society, is not directly connected with BEV, we wish all devotees concerned the very best in their attempts to establish a... The fucking tone deaf. This guy's accused of pedophilia. He's been accused in India. He's been accused everywhere he goes. He went to jail in Cambodia. You know how fucked up you got to be to go to jail in Cambodia? I mean, they let anybody do anything in Cambodia. You got to be a pretty fucked up person to get caught and go to jail in Cambodia. Guy got caught, went to jail in Cambodia. And these fuckers got him out of jail. And these guys talking about him like he did something great because he made a bullock cart and he took some books around the friggin' fucking stupid. And then, if that's not enough, finally, we should all remember the wise instructions of His divine grace in the Bhagavad Gita, right? We all know that one because everybody loves this verse. Sometimes, however, it may be seen that a person in Krishna consciousness commits some act which may be taken as most abominable socially or politically, like begging some good rice from an old lady. But such a temporary fall down does not disqualify him, unless he's got to go jump in the river over some fucking good rice. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that if a person falls down but is wholeheartedly engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, the Lord, being situated within his heart, beautifies him and excuses him from that abomination, unless he begs some good rice from an old Vaishnavi, elderly Vaishnav. Then he can't. He doesn't get beautified by the Lord in the heart, because Lord Chaitanya on the outside says, "Get his face out of my face." So you want me to believe that Lord Chaitanya, who's Krishna himself, who's supposed to be beautifying him from the inside, told him to get the fuck out of my face because he begged some good rice? But Tattva Darshan, this friggin' Tattva Darshan character, who goes to jail for debauchery with some little girls in Cambodia, in a hotel room in Cambodia, he is forgiven because he's wholeheartedly engaged in the transcendental of the Supreme Lord. They think we're stupid. They think we're stupid. They think we're stupid. They think we don't know about that good rice. And we're just going to excuse, Oh, you know what? I got this great verse in the Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, you know, you can get away with anything. Let's just use that verse. Well, what about the good rice? What about Chotaharita? Chotaharidas didn't do anything wrong. He didn't look at her sexually. He didn't put his hands all over her. He didn't. It wasn't like. He didn't do any of that. Am I back? Am I back on? I don't know. I'm having computer issues here. I'm really sorry. And I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what to, I don't know what to do. Okay, I don't know. All right, everybody. I don't know. I'm having issue. I'm having. I can't do it. I can't do it. Bye. Bye, everybody. I'm gonna have to say good. I'm gonna have to say goodbye because I'm having issues with my computer. I apologize. I don't know what the issue is, but I can't continue like this. No, it's you. It's not you. It's me.